Were they looking for a home for you to go to?
But I have nowhere to go.
We have children living in an office building.
I can't even sleep at night. What's the point of being here? If I have somewhere to go, I can sleep in a bed.
Hearing that just breaks your heart. Those are just some of the sights and sounds our 10 Investigates team uncovered from our foster care system. Tonight, as 10 Investigates shows us, foster children are sleeping, sometimes living in county office buildings.
Tonight, our months-long investigation has uncovered a problem that affects the state's most vulnerable children. Here's Chief Investigative Reporter Vinny Haverly with the video proof and its rippling effects.
In a county office building in the middle of the night, police respond to a child in need. A teenage girl in crisis who has threatened staff and been taken to the ground.
I don't want to be here. And I don't want to go to the hospital either.
This is Franklin County Children's Services Intake Center, where 10 Investigates found children in Ohio's foster care system have ended up sleeping or sometimes living when the county cannot find a suitable foster home or placement.
How'd you end up here?
I have nowhere to go.
Who brought you here?
My caseworker.
Your caseworker?
Yeah,
Were you staying at a foster
Monday.
home?
I was in the hospital, but I just got here Monday. I have nowhere to go.
While the body camera footage has been pixelated by Whitehall police, you can still hear conversations, including this moment between a Whitehall officer and a children's services supervisor.
This is where she's been sleeping and everything?
Yeah, she's been here for quite a few days, so she's kind of taken over this room.
Hey, Brooke. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Brooke Cano is the Whitehall officer who responded to that call last July and managed to calm the girl down.
You were just wrestled to the ground. You're a couple weeks pregnant. You have a lot going on right now, okay? You need a minute to breathe.
Cano told us she has a passion for these calls, often playing the teens' favorite music while transporting them to the children's hospital for further evaluation. This is just one of several calls Cano and her fellow officers have made within the past year.
Unfortunately, you see that some of these kids are there for an extended period of time.
4 months later, on Thanksgiving weekend, the same teenage girl is referenced in this police report, noting she'd run away from the building. 11 days later, on December 7th, our camera captured video of a girl matching her exact description, standing outside FCCS, wrapped in a blanket.
Again, it goes back to placement. You know, sometimes they don't have the placement, or the foster homes don't have extra space, or there's not enough foster parents to go around, and they do what they can, but it's a sad turn of events for these kids.
I know. I've been in so many placements. It's crazy. I don't want to be here. I don't even know what to do no more. They can't find nowhere else for me to go.
This 16-year-old ran away from the FCCS office, telling police this summer she's been in the foster care system since she was 9 months old.
Well, let's frustrated. Okay. I have to sit here and spend the night on this couch that it's hard and it hurts my back. He's threatening staff and saying he's gonna tear up the place, and he's been here for 3 days. Yesterday he ran, came back.
On another run, a sheriff's deputy expresses concern to Franklin County Children's Services over repeatedly calling police to deal with children at the county office.
Because we can't keep calling them to come out here for this, but he's threatening staff, and he's saying he's gonna tear up the place. So at this point, somebody need to be up here with him.
We have nobody.
Yeah,
I can't say that enough.
I can't keep doing it.
The repeated calls have led to increased frustrations.
It is a countywide problem between Children's Services and the juvenile correction system, where they do not want to do their jobs and keep kids where they need to be kept.
We can deal with them.
No, there are sworn deputies working inside here who let these children walk out and then call us to come catch them and bring them back. And guess what? We catch them and bring them back.
Over the past 16 months, 115 children spent the night in the offices of Franklin County Children's Services. The county says that number may include kids who were counted more than once, especially if they left for a placement but were then sent back. The state could only provide an estimate that last year, roughly 400 children across the state spent at least one night in a county office. In Cuyahoga County, workers there complained to county officials during a meeting last July.
We've had it up to here. Will y'all act then? Because no one is doing anything right now. And I'm sorry, I'm frustrated. I am angry.
The problem is that these kids that come in, they go out of the building, they come in as they want. So they go here, they steal food at Dave's, come back. They go out, they prostitute, they come back. They come back and they take this new one that came in and take her out to prostitute or to get raped. That's not what we're supposed to do. We removed kids from people's homes because you're not protecting them. But that's what they're doing there, and nobody is protecting them.
FCCS and the state agency that oversees them, ODJFS, both declined multiple interview requests from 10 Investigates.
I don't want to be here.
We took our findings to Kim Eckert with the Children's Defense Fund Ohio, a nonprofit that advocates for children and their safety.
There's a pattern.
Oh, and that there's a problem with placement.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that, you know, we don't want this to be happening, and so we don't necessarily want to invest our energy in addressing it because we would rather it not be happening. But the solution is not to ignore it.
Eckert says there should be additional funding and dedicated staff assigned to deal with foster children who are in between placements.
It is untenable that the default sanctioned solution that we have all somewhat kind of agreed upon is that just staying in offices is okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. And we can do something about this.
And Bennett is joining us live now from Franklin County Children's Services. And Bennett, what are the calls for change this evening?
Yolanda, as you heard, the advocates right now, they want a couple of things. They want the state to require the counties to keep a more accurate count of how often this happens, how often children end up spending the night in the offices. We've also taken our findings to a state lawmaker. Here's her reaction to some of what we found.
Obviously, that's a devastating number. No child should have to spend the night in an office building. And I think really what this highlights is that statewide, we are experiencing a huge shortage of foster caregivers.
And that was Representative Susan Manchester. What she said is the same thing that the state, the same thing that FCCS told us, which is that there is a need for additional foster parents in the state of Ohio. But the advocates have said that's not enough, that this issue needs attention right now and that could involve additional funding. They're calling it a crisis. Reporting live in Whitehall tonight, Bennett Haberly, 10 Investigates.
Bennett, thank you for your reporting. If you have an issue you want our 10 Investigates team to look into, we want to hear from you. Send us an email, 10investigates@10tv.com.
It is a crisis only getting worse.
County data shows more foster children sleeping in office buildings. We first reported on this issue some 2 months ago. Tonight, 10 Investigates found Franklin County is on pace to house more children this year.
Ohio's lingering problem comes at a time when other states are finding solutions. Here's Chief Investigative Reporter Bennett Haberly.
This is Franklin County Children's Services, where so far this year, 36 children have spent the night.
I just flipped over a couple things out here.
You're looking at body camera footage from late February.
These kids.
A Whitehall police officer is taking photos of damage caused by 3 children, all under the age of 12.
I don't like y'all touching. Relax, buddy.
Get over here right now. Get over here. The kids ran away from the county office, and police were called to bring them back. In the back of the cruiser, a 12-year-old girl gave this explanation for her actions.
So when I try to calmly talk to them, they don't want to listen. So when I show this side, they all want to be scared and they all want to call the police.
So what side are you talking about?
The side that you see in there.
The
side that y'all just seen. The side that y'all see is walking out. The side that y'all see that whole building destroyed.
The girl tells the officer she has been sexually abused in the past, but doesn't go into detail. She tells him she was looking for knives because she considered hurting herself.
You wanted to end your life. Why? First off, why are you here? Why are you up to the service?
I'm here because this morning, the cops can't. This morning, my grandma woke us up, me and my brother, and that's not my brother, but my other one, hitting us with a steel bat. So I got up, put my clothes on, and I walked out. Me and walking on the grass, and she trying to run us over with her car. So I called the police, they came, and they dropped us off.
Because you didn't have a safe place to go, right?
Yep.
When children are removed from homes and foster placements can't be made, they end up coming here. Since 2020, the FCCS office has temporarily housed more than 160 foster children, a disproportionate number of whom have been black.
But we're seeing this crisis all over the country.
Naomi Riley works for the American Enterprise Institute.
And placing kids in hotels or offices or, homeless shelters or places like that any longer than really a night just should not be, part of our spectrum of care.
Riley says part of the problem is these children have unique needs, which can be challenging for foster parents to handle. She told me there's a need for more congregate care facilities to help them. But our own reporting found Ohio already spends millions sending kids to out-of-state residential treatment facilities, more than half of which we found were mired by allegations of abuse or neglect. And others like Sequel Pomegranate here in Columbus have since closed amid allegations of abuse.
I mean, I understand people feel like they've been burned by by facilities that are abusive, but the answer to that has got to be more oversight. It cannot just be closing them down left and right.
Across the country, we found foster children in at least 26 states have spent time sleeping in offices or hotels. States like Tennessee and Georgia, however, are now spending additional money, trying to entice more caseworkers and providers to hold on to children longer.
We feel really good about this happening in Shelby County very soon, and all kids will be out of offices and into transitional homes.
Armed with this information, we took our questions to Governor DeWine.
Is there more Ohio can do to address that problem?
There is more we can do. The budget that we presented to the General Assembly really calls for and allows to be developed what we would call tiered foster care. The key really is when you have kids with very significant needs, you have to have foster parents who have been trained to deal with those particular challenges.
Kids need a bed, kids need a blanket and a pillow.
But former foster children tell us there's a need for action now, that more foster parents may not equate to better care. Regine Turner and her sister Augustine are now in their 20s and say the problem has been long-standing. They too stayed in this office in Cleveland years ago while in between placements.
I'm pretty sure if you interviewed 20 aged-out foster kids, at least 18 of us have had horrible experiences, if not all.
But should there be a stopgap measure? I mean, 400 kids over the past fiscal year ended up staying at least one night in a county office. I mean, in your views, is that an acceptable habitat for somebody to stay in?
No, certainly no one wants to see that happen. The answer, though, to that is having more places for these children to go. And to have more places for these children to go, you have to have trained foster parents.
And just yesterday, the Ohio House passed their version of the budget, but it did not include those programs that Governor DeWine referenced. One advocate for the children's services agencies across the state told me that there are millions of dollars in proposed cuts in this House budget, which will have a negative impact on what she called critical programs for foster parents and children. Yolanda?
All right, thank you, Bennett. Tomorrow you'll hear more from those two sisters Bennett interviewed who had their own ideas about how they'd like to help. If you have a tip you'd like our 10 Investigates team to look into, just email 10investigates@10tv.com.
Our investigation into the foster care system has found children being forced to sleep in offices when placements can't be made. Tonight, 10 Investigates is talking to two former foster children who now say they'd like to help. Here's Chief Investigative Reporter Bennett Haverly.
It's like when I aged out of the system, I was an 18-year-old single mom. I had a baby and I had nothing. Like, I had no parents, no mom, no dad, nobody to mentor me, not even independent living worker. I had nothing.
Augustine Turner and her sister Regine, now in their 20s, grew up in the foster care system of Cleveland.
So all told, how many places would you say you've lived?
Probably like about 20.
20 different places?
Because I had behaviors that they never seen in a kid.
In an hour-long conversation, they told me haunting stories of alleged neglect and abuse, the details of which are difficult to hear and independently confirmed because foster care records are kept confidential.
I watched the foster mother, the lady's daughter, like stumped her in the head with her boot, and it was like, I couldn't even do nothing.
At one point years ago, the sisters told me they spent the night here at the Jane Edna Hunter building in Cleveland when they had nowhere else to go. It is the same building where foster children have been forced to sleep in, which last summer sparked workers to speak out during a county council meeting.
We've had it up to here. Will y'all act in? Because no one is doing anything right now. And I'm sorry, I'm frustrated. I am angry.
The problem is that these kids that come in, they go out of the building, they come in as they want. So they go here, they steal food at Dave's, come back. They go out, they prostitute, they come back. They come back and they take this new one that came in and take her out to prostitute or to get raped. That's not what we're supposed to do. We removed kids from people's homes because you're not protecting them. But that's what they're doing there, and nobody is protecting them.
Kids need a bed. Kids need a blanket and a pillow.
The sisters told me they would like to help by providing hygiene care packages for the children who have to stay here. Right now, it is only an idea, but one that comes from women who know what it's like.
It's hard to see a way out, you know, when you've grown up a certain way and you don't have a lot. The impact of being in foster care has pretty much traumatized me to the point where I struggle every day.
And the women we interviewed tell me that they were removed from their home at such a young age that they're still trying to learn more about their past. A provision included in the budget bill that passed the House this week would allow former foster youth to inspect their own records. We also have an update on something we reported yesterday. We are now told the additional training Governor DeWine proposed for foster parents is included in the version of the budget bill that passed this week. We want to make sure you have that correct information. By the way, the group representing children's services agencies across the state has expressed concern about some of the funding reductions they say could have a negative impact on the foster system. Andrew?
Bennett, thanks so much. Do you have an issue you want our 10 Investigates team to look into? We want to hear from you. Send us an email, 10investigates@10tv.com.